to Christianarchy Today with Steve, Ethan, and Shawn. Today we have the age-old topic of how to know truth.
Ooh.
Here we go.
I don't know why you act surprised.
Well, it's a tough one. It's really a tough one because there's so many opinions about it. First, I think we need to define truth. Truth with a capital T, truth. Is the truth relative?
No.
No. Absolutely, we agree, not relative.
What are the arguments for it being relative?
Oh my gosh, that's postmodern philosophy, and it says that your truth is different than my truth.
Well,
But
is that statement true though? That's the problem.
Well, listen, my truth of saying it is different than your truth of disagreeing.
But that's a truth statement. Dr. Frank Turk taught me this.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it? Well, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just telling you what.
I'm just saying that the argument is self-defeating because you're making a truth claim that people have different truths, that there's different truths out there. That's a truth claim.
Well, it's my version of the truth claim.
But that's a truth claim.
Yeah, it's my version. It's relative to me.
Yeah, but if
That's how I feel.
if you say truth is a relative thing, that is an objective truth.
In my world, it's a relative thing.
Your world, we all live in the same world.
That's how I understand this world. You understand it differently.
And see,
you understand it the Frank Turek way. I understand it.
I'm building a wall between me and Shawn right now. Listen, folks. The character that Shawn is playing is a type of person that you do not need to talk to because it is like talking to a brick wall. And I'm being 100% serious here. You're wasting your breath. Wasting your breath.
But you know that is relativism.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
And I don't talk to relativists.
It's anathema to logic.
Yeah.
Right. But I would say this, though. So we're talking about truth now. Let's just talk about, to cut the field down, let's just talk about religious truth. Okay? Is there a truth with a capital T?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay, so religious truth, spiritual truth, Christian truth is not relative, right?
Right.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, it's relative in the way you look at it, but we cannot be sure on what the truth is.
Who has the authority over the truth?
God.
God is
God
truth.
alone.
Yeah.
Right.
God. So the truth is absolutely objective. How we understand it can be subjective because we're not. We
Very
can't,
good.
We can't know. We can't know the full truth because we're not God, and we didn't. We only have a finite lifespan here with finite amount of knowledge and experiences. We cannot know everything. So it has to be.
So why do
subjectively
religionists
understood.
postulate truth? Why do they say this is the truth? And yet, for instance, let me give you an example. Water baptism. Tell me the truth of it.
Well, okay. You could take
Squirt
the people
gun.
that believe in sola
Like the
scriptura.
Pope.
Or like, a
Squirt
good example
gun.
was like, you brought this up with Matt Slick. I was watching that the other day. And it's like, and you even brought it up with Jason Wallace on where's infant baptism in the Bible. And he said, well, you could take this, and he put like a bunch of Old Testament interpretations and threw it into one doctrine.
Right.
But there's no like clear defined set saying that you must baptize infants. So the way I see it is you take Christ's example, he was baptized, full submersion. I mean, you can make the argument for something different, but you take his example and then you apply that to baptism today. But is that salvation affecting? No. Can you think differently? No. You can find places in the Bible where you can interpret it to think differently.
Absolutely differently. Christ's baptism was the baptism from John.
Yeah.
And John was told he would identify the Messiah when he was baptized. So that's why John baptized. It wasn't for a remission of sin because he had no sin. So we can't apply John's baptism to us because for Jesus it was for a different purpose.
Yeah.
Is it by immersion, you say?
I think so.
You think? Can it be by sprinkling?
You can be.
Yeah, sure.
So what are we doing? So what's the truth of baptism? Is it water? Is it spirit?
It's
Is it by
spirit.
fire?
Yeah, yes, baptism by fire through Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Do you have to be baptized to go to heaven?
No.
no. I think a good there's better ways to do it, I could say, but I can't say there is the one way to do it because we have these debates that we're just talking about. There's better ways, but in the end, it really doesn't even matter anyways because it's the heart that matters.
Yeah.
But I mean, it can be a tool that we use. What's up?
So baptism with a capital T,
So
just
taking
something
time
like
out really
Yeah.
quickly.
the capital T truth of baptism. We can't even get close to that right now.
No.
No, because we can't say you must be baptized. You have to be baptized to be saved. how it's supposed to be done, because I'll guarantee you when you look at a real serious study of baptism, sprinkling was probably more in harmony with what they did in the Old Testament with the blood on the altar and all these other things than immersion.
Mm-hmm.
And baptizo is a different word relative to dyeing fabric. So it is so big, and there are so many denominations who claim this is the truth with baptism.
You can't say the truth on baptism, just like you can't come to the truth on which church you should go to. What is it? The one with the most family members, Is it the one with the most friends? It's the closest proproximity.
The one that speaks in tongues?
One that speaks in tongues. What if one's 2 hours away, but it's what you like better? It's some stuff like this that there's no... Who really cares?
So what's the truth that we're looking for? Because this is sort of relative, because your understanding of the Bible and your interpretation of the Bible makes the truth that God has, capital T, objective truth, subjective, because you see it differently than your brother.
It's not subjective, though. You can see it differently because we're fallen creatures. We don't know.
Right.
Because we can't know
the
everything.
truth isn't subjective, but your interpretation of it is.
Exactly.
Therefore, in our realm, it remains subjective, and therefore the only solution to the differences is love.
Just like the relativist that was annoying Ethan. I mean, truth is objective, but they're clearly seeing it in a subjective way, and they're just wrong. Yeah. Objectively, they're wrong.
Yeah.
But
it's a contradictory
subjectively,
statement.
you just whatever. You got to let them go and love. It has to do more with other people in the world, even not just Christians arguing over Christian things. Mm-hmm. It's a lesson for everything.
So I just got to throw this in here. It really is a side issue with truth, but what's the difference between truth and opinion? You see a movie and I see a movie. You say it's great. I say it sucked. Where does the truth lie? Can truth apply to opinion and to subjective experience?
I mean, it can. There are some truth claims like the earth revolves around the sun. You can't debate that. But if Shawn...
Heliocentrism...
Stop.
Wait, say it again. I missed it.
The earth revolves around the sun. That's a fact. You can't dispute that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a guy who does our websites who's very well read, a Christian through and through with his family in Sweden. He says that's the biggest lie you've ever been told in your life.
Well,
and
that the sun
that's the biggest
orbits
lie he's been told, actually.
Well, he can go ahead and stick with that.
And hence we have an issue when it comes to truth claims.
Yes. Again, the truth is objective, but we can't... How you get there and to know the truth is so incredibly complicated for our puny brains right now that everything can be just completely overcomplicated to no end. Like,
Only
okay,
on this show.
if we're talking about opinions, a movie, for instance. Okay, what's the best movie?
Right.
Or what's the best
according
church
to
go
what?
to?
Okay,
Right.
you have to decide what it's according to. Then you have to go through every movie ever in existence, even
Right.
the one that somebody makes with an iPhone, and say which one's the best. So there is a best movie. I'll say this. There's a best movie on the planet. But what is it? We don't know. And really, who cares? For something like that.
This is impossible for you to even say that.
Why?
It is.
Because there is no best movie on the face of the earth.
According to what, though?
But it's
according
It's
that's
all
the problem.
opinionated. There's
all
no
opinion.
factual basis you can stick
There's
to
no
figure out the
factual,
best
but you can
movie.
say ticket sales, you could say,
Okay, yeah.
but that's no way to determine if it's the best movie. It could be a small indie that no one's ever seen. It's impossible.
I'm saying it could be. Yeah, but there is a movie, though.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
You don't think?
No. No way.
Well,
no way.
The fact
in the
that we're
world.
arguing over the best movies right now.
No, it's just the topic of what people
Okay.
so
opinion
no
and
opinion.
truth.
No opinion can have. You can't
You
make a
could
truth
say
claim
it's
about
the
an
best
opinion.
movie I've ever seen, and I can say
Okay.
that's your opinion. Fine, because it's subjectively delivered, and
Sure.
right. But I don't think that the world can come together.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think God would say this is the best movie on the face of the earth.
Well, don't you think there's a movie that the most people like the best? Wouldn't
Yeah,
that, by definition, be the best? Meaning,
No,
It wouldn't?
popular opinion's a lie.
Okay, if the
Popular
most people
opinion
like
is
it.
that Jesus is coming back too.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the thing.
Okay.
You can't assign truth claims to opinions. In my opinion, Jurassic Park is the best movie. No,
That's just like your opinion,
You
man.
did not have to step into that.
I did.
You really
I did.
didn't.
It's my opinion. You can think differently.
Yes.
Going back, I'm trying to change something to something. My statement earlier to something that's apparently non-controversial. The Earth is round. Is everyone okay in there? Everybody? The Earth is round? All right, we'll stick with that one.
You didn't see me move at all.
I'm just making sure. Because apparently me saying the Earth goes around the sun is disputed in this church.
It is disputed in the world. There is a segment of society growing that disputes that. I don't agree with them, but they dispute it. The question is, what is truth? That's what we have to start with before we can talk about...
Don't you think God has a favorite movie? I'm stuck on this.
Stop going back to the movies. We're sticking to this.
No, I am sticking on this because
God might have...
hey, I need to look under every rock in this example here. We need to figure this out.
Let's stick with it then, baby.
All right.
God might personally have a favorite movie. I mean, I don't know. He might. But it doesn't mean that's the favorite movie of others.
I'm not saying that it's the favorite movie. I'm saying the best movie.
I don't think you can apply that to truth, though.
Okay.
Because, like, truth is something that is, like, true.
So, okay, can I say this then? Best is too wide of a word for movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I say that? So you can subcategorize
Yeah,
things.
you can say best-selling movie. That's easily proven.
Okay.
Or
what if it checks the most boxes in these categories that we're talking about?
the
Who's
best
checking the
made
boxes?
movie?
I'm just saying if we're objectively the most sales, we'll say.
Okay, that you can do.
Objectively the most money to create.
Okay.
Objectively the
Best act.
most Oscars won by an actor, whatever.
Okay.
Most Oscars.
And going down the list of these categories, you can.
But those things do not make it the best movie. Thank you.
They don't make it the best movie even if they check all those boxes.
No, because what makes it the best movie is what the individual sees and takes from the film itself, and that's why it cannot be defined as the best movie based on those things you can tick.
Okay.
You know
Because
what?
when it comes to those other factors, like did it make you emotional, did it touch you, did it make you want to change, that is checked by different people in different ways.
Okay, but what if one that checks all these boxes does that for more people? The most people
Popular
feel
opinion
changed by
does
that.
not determine truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? I never thought I'd see the day where me and Sean would be versing Steve.
Hey, no, it's okay.
It's so beautiful.
I'm just trying to run this argument through to make sure I've got things straight here because.
I'm loving
didn't know
this.
for a
Continue,
fact.
Steve.
I didn't know for a fact we could not say that there's a best movie. We're coming to conclusions here.
And you can attack me. I want you to go at it if I say something that's absolutely
I
ridiculous.
attack you all the time, Sean. Don't worry. It's gonna happen more and more.
Okay, so now let's just move away from the secular world.
So you can't make a truth claim about an
opinionated
Okay,
topic.
very tough.
Is it impossible?
I think it's impossible.
Okay.
I disagree with that.
Okay, give me an
So
example.
so there's a best movie. then.
No.
Use a different
I'm not
example.
going that extreme. There are some things that are objectively true. It doesn't matter if people disagree with it. That's their problem.
No, it wasn't about
then that's not an
objectively
opinion
true.
then.
We're talking 2 + 2 is 4, okay? But we're talking about things of opinion. That was what you said. You said that.
But what would you define as an opinion? Because
something that is based on non-fact.
Okay.
Yeah, because facts are going to be facts.
So going back to the Earth revolving around the sun,
Yeah.
that is a scientific fact.
It's about truth, not facts, guys.
It's not a fact.
That's a fact.
No,
Joe
it's a
Biden
theory
quote.
still.
Do not.
That's
so bothersome.
I'm sorry, but it's a theory.
But you could.
Do you know that we haven't
I'm
even
leaving it.
left our galaxy to be able to look back? We haven't even gotten high enough to see.
Yeah, but we have left the Earth.
We have science that tells
we have
us.
left the Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how about this? You are a male. That's a scientific fact. That's a fact.
Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. That's a fact. But we're talking about things of opinion. That's what you said. You said there.
But if an opinion contradicts a fact, their opinion does not matter.
Okay, but what you're calling a fact, some of those things are not facts. They're theories still. I know you believe it. I know science proves it. But there are people who are convinced. I'm not one of them.
I know.
Are convinced the Earth is flat and the Earth, because it supports what the Bible says, and the sun and the moon orbit around that, and they consider that their opinion based on the facts that they know. So that is an opinion. You're using that as a fact. It's not a good fact.
It is a fact, though.
It's not a fact.
It is a fact.
It's not. In your mind, it's a fact.
But
It is a fact.
It can't be, though, because you're saying it's a scientific fact. Is that what you're saying?
Scientific, it's a fact. If it's a scientific fact, it's a fact.
No.
It is.
That can't be true, though, because there was a scientific fact that the Earth was flat and the sun revolved around the Earth.
Okay, good point. But was that
Scientific
based on the
facts change,
scientific
my
method,
friend.
though?
Scientific facts change. I want you. Okay,
They
I'm a
do.
male.
Based
I'll go
on
with
more
that.
evidence.
Transgender.
Okay.
But I go 2 + 2, 4, and using
Okay.
our math system. Right.
Okay.
Anything like that, that's not opinion. You said. I'm sticking with this.
Okay.
You said opinions are
What?
not relative. You said opinions are.
Oh, no. Some opinions can be truth.
Right.
Or
Some
or-
opinions can
yeah.
be truth. I want you to give me an example of one.
I gave you that example.
That's not an example because
It
it
is
wouldn't
an
hold
example.
up. People have varying views of that.
It doesn't matter if
no,
it's not a
no,
true
it's because
view.
you are holding the view that it's a
It's
fact.
not just me. It's
It doesn't matter.
provable.
Popular opinion doesn't prove it.
I'm not talking about popular opinion. I'm just
Science
saying
doesn't
if
prove
you
it.
can prove something, then that is
You
objectively
can't
true.
prove it.
Yes, you can.
You can't. You can only show signs that it's true. It's a theory still. I believe it. We have a PhD who comes to campus here in the morning.
Okay.
He's a PhD. His business was launching satellites into orbit.
Okay.
His business was based on a round Earth.
Yes.
And he can prove using that the Earth is round. But so I get what you're saying, that it's a fact and that's it. But if you want to take all the things that revolve around it and say it's all factual, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you can't do it. And if you meet somebody who's well schooled enough, and I've met them, they'll own you with some of the stuff that you say are facts. And they'll show you that there are exceptions to these opinions that scientists have about the world being round. So I am not saying I am that. I am not. But I like to argue when people emphatically tell me something else. Besides the Earth being round that you believe is a fact, is there any other opinion that you can say are facts?
I probably can think of some, but you know what? I'm going to let Steve talk. I'm taking the light off of me.
You ready to go?
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
it's not going to be as interesting because I'm kind of agreeing with you, but science is, it's not settled. It
Well,
just
yeah,
isn't.
true.
So it's constantly evolving now. That can be a great way to discover truth, but we need to understand that it keeps changing. So it kind of is similar to an opinion at some times because it's based on evidence, but there's other evidence too. That maybe there was less evidence to say at the time that the world was round, when they thought they had more evidence that said it was flat, and that's why they say it's flat. I don't know when that's
Okay,
just an example, but you get what I'm saying.
So you're correct in that science changes.
Okay.
But as human knowledge expands, there are some things that are going to be very hard to change, like the example I just gave. Let's just go down to something more simple.
Grass is green?
Literally what I was about to say.
Not if you're colorblind.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up. Yeah, they never let me finish. Never. Okay, we could go with plants grow under the right conditions. Okay. Shawn, I don't know what you're about to say, but I don't know how
Is this the opinion or the fact?
the fact that a plant can grow under the right conditions.
Okay.
You have a seed, you water it, right temperature, you have the sun, it grows. That is an objective fact. You can observe that. That is not going to change in science. You guys get what I'm saying? So, like, there are some things that, yes, something about what happened in evolution will change in science. But the fact of evolution, I don't think will change in science because the whole scientific method, our whole biological
I think that's
understanding.
Wrong. It could totally change.
Yeah,
Really?
I do too.
Absolutely.
I think that's
How?
Absolutely.
What could it possibly change on them?
Oh my goodness.
Everything.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear this. I don't think it will.
Everything.
But we're not debating this. We're just saying whether it can be whether it can change. We're not debating how evolution is permanent.
I think the possibility of it changing is so unlikely to where I would not say that it would change.
Okay, what if you die and God says gravity schmavity I don't even know what gravity is. Let me tell you what it is. It's when the
density
stars go
layers.
wink, 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 and that causes things to go like this. Your gravity
But
loss.
then what's the point of us trying to discover truth if God can just do that then?
I think we, bit by bit, are coming into truths. But like Steve said, I think all of those can be unalterably changed when we come into the whole perspective of everything. You're suggesting that we've come to some reality that will forever be because we've
Not what I
discovered
said.
it here.
I think there are some things within the world that are objective and do not change.
I would agree with that.
The more I've gotten into science and physics and biology and these things, the more I've realized that everything is debatable. That's
Well, sure.
like everything. There's so many different opinions on these things. They're opinions. So I don't know if we can call them fact just yet. So yeah.
Would you call evolution a fact or an opinion?
Opinion.
Really?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about microevolution? That thing, not even species changing over time.
Okay.
Just that animals change over time.
Adaptation?
Yes, adaptation.
Sure.
That's microevolution. Is that a fact?
I'd say it's probably a fact, yeah.
Yes, because we've observed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple to see.
But now we're getting if okay, it's a fact because we've observed it. Now we're just
Okay.
getting to empirical
Well,
truth.
if we can just dumb it down and say that things as simple as animals changing over time.
You haven't seen the Earth being round because you're living on it, right?
Yeah, but you can see the circumference from the of the Earth if you go high
You can
enough.
think you do.
No,
but
you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
I mean, you have
Where have you seen
equations
it?
that can measure this. I mean,
Equations, yes.
like there are objective things to figure this out.
Every pilot I've ever talked to, and I know several, I say,
So do I.
do you see the curve? Not really. Every one of them.
Even if you go up on a really high mountain, I used to think you could see the curvature on what's the thing, Pikes Peak in Colorado.
Okay.
But when I went up there last time, I was thinking that I saw that the first time, and I was like, I don't really see this whole curve
Okay,
thing that people
okay.
are saying.
Uh,
I'm not saying it's not true.
I know,
I think
I
there's
know.
round, but I'm just saying we can't empirically say based on our really empirical evidence. Personally, you can't.
So let's bring it all back into the
You
like,
can't.
truth with a
Not-
capital T.
We've
fallen so
No,
far
it's
off track.
important because
Yeah.
truth, right?
Yeah.
So are there religious truths? How can someone know that they're following the right religious path? Mormons say, they get up every Sunday on fasting and say, I know the church is true.
Yeah.
I have a testimony of the truth. And they tell you if you feel the burning in your heart, that's a witness to the truth. So feelings, they say, emotions are the way you discern truth.
Mm-hmm.
What do we say to a Christian? How can you discern Christian truths? And you better be careful because I am ready for both of you on this.
I know. Look at him. He's in
Can we
his
discern
stance.
Christian truths.
Yeah, how do you discern them?
Um,
Because our audience wants to know.
like when somebody says, this is a religious truth that I have, is it true? Objectively?
Yeah, have they reached a place where the thing that they're believing is true?
Well,
How can we arrive at truth as Christians?
based on the love it produces,
Good answer.
based on the love it produces, and in conjunction with the Spirit, based
Okay.
just like how we talked about what Bible is the best.
Because the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy,
Right.
peace, long-suffering, all
Exactly.
those things.
So, for now, that's my partial answer.
And would you agree with support in the Word?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have those three witnesses that we can discern truth by as Christians.
Okay.
He's smiling.
I know.
If it's only in the Word, or if it could be an error,
Yeah.
like we talked about, so then it wouldn't have love, or if it wasn't true. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you have to ask yourself the question when you're talking about religious truth: is religion true in the first place, and how can you prove that?
I don't mean religion. I mean God's objective truth.
Okay, but how do you know God exists in the first place? You have to start from like the building block of it, because this is really what I deal with, and
Okay. And
this is where
can
the
you
truth
prove then God?
I wouldn't say prove. That's a big word.
Okay.
But I can say that I can reasonably suggest that God exists.
Okay, I would agree with that.
By philosophy, by what we find in science. Now, you can't put God in a test tube, and you can't find him by the scientific method. But through the events that have happened throughout evolutionary history, throughout history, just history itself, in human history, I think you can reasonably suggest that Christianity is true. And of course, we don't have the time to get into the details of that, but you can say, okay, because there's a beginning of the universe, there is a beginner, you can go to the writings of Josephus, Tacitus, and 7 other historical accounts that are not biblical and not written by Christians within the first century that give accounts of a man named Jesus living in the first century. You can go to eyewitness accounts, you can go to the writings of Paul, you can go to why would you die for something that you know that is life, and on and on and on and on. And then eventually it's like, okay, I can reasonably believe this is true. And then when you talk about the Old Testament,
you can reasonably deny it too.
That's right, because there are people who do. They go to all that study.
There is,
Right.
but
So it really comes down to faith then.
yeah, but it has to be based off of something.
I would agree.
I don't like giving the Mormon answer, well, I have a feeling, because feelings are totally subjective.
Right.
How do you know that your feeling is the right one?
Right.
So you have to base it off of something objective.
I agree, but what he said.
You can reasonably you can reasonably say the exact opposite, and that's
Look at Bart Ehrman. Look at these
so many
scholars
things.
of the
yeah,
faith.
I know. But
yeah.
I need someone to play the devil's advocate, though.
He doesn't need an advocate.
Yeah,
I'm just
then-
kidding.
I can't get away with anything. Nothing.
That's what they used to say to me when I was a kid. I hated it. I hated it when they said that. So I'm just throwing it on you.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's an annoyance.
I was just watching a scientific video the other day on on multiple universes, right? Multiverses. Is the multiverse true? You can't know because
Exactly.
you can't know. So it may be true, 100%, and it may not be. You can come up with arguments for both sides, but it's not really. It's in the realm of faith. At that point.
Yeah.
It just is. And there's many things in this topic, in science, in a lot of different things that really just you have to have faith in the thing based on what the evidence it's a faith thing. You know?
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So, well, I agree with you. A good faith is based on evidentiary principles. I agree with you. But can you know it's true? I don't think you can know any of it's true.
I think in terms of religious things, it's very hard to know anything to be true. But I think there is some sort of normal truth. But I'm just going to what you're talking about, you can reasonably deny it. We can go to just one question, one out of many you can ask. And this is more of my apologetical side. The apostles who denied Christ, this, again, objective fact, Josephus wrote about it. They denied Christ, claimed to have seen him resurrected from the dead, and then subsequently go and suffer horrible deaths for this man that they claim to have been resurrected. Again, Bart Ehrman will admit that this happened. Bart Ehrman is agnostic. This is historical truth. Why would they do that?
It's a great argument for the validity of Christ existing and him having the influence over people to convince them to give their life. But because someone gives their life for something does not make it true. People threw themselves in the fire at
Kool-Aid,
Waco.
Kool-Aid
Jim
thing.
Jones,
Jim
they're
Jones.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the best argument. I think it's just a fact that's nice and we can use it to support. But no way can you say this makes it true.
Yeah, but there are certain claims, because if Christ never resurrected, then that would mean they would be making it up. The people at Waco believed that what their cause is true.
Right.
You have to have that belief. Like any Muslim that blows themselves up obviously believes the religion of Islam.
Okay, so the apostles could have been as deluded as a Muslim blowing up the world trade.
How would they be deluded though?
Well, you could go with one of the arguments that Jesus hid, and that he went to India and then he came back.
No, because it's a fact. It's a historical fact that he died on a cross.
Well, that would have to be debated too.
It's
then.
debatable.
No,
a lot
it's
of
not.
history is pretty debatable.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's
Not
all
re-
going to come to faith. I
it
just
is-
don't agree with you that you think that you can say this is true. I think it is debated, and we
Because
walk by faith.
And then there's no point in us even having this conversation if truth cannot be known.
No, there's a side we haven't touched on.
Can I just talk about
Okay.
history real quick?
Go ahead.
History could be. I'll just give an example why it can be partially unreliable sometimes. Maybe.
Okay.
It's a possibility that it's unreliable. You could say, what evidence do you have for history? Let's say, okay, you have writings that someone existed at this place. Okay, that could be changed or written or fabricated by somebody that was lying.
Hold up.
Okay.
That's true, and I've gotten that. But when you have more sources,
What if
then
it's the same person that went to a different town
that's
and wrote
called
the same thing?
conspiracy. You would have to prove that.
Okay.
Because it's saying that that someone could have just written all these sources, you would have, that is your burden of proof.
Would you admit it's possible?
It's possible,
Okay.
but you would have to prove it first.
Sure, but we
All I'm
can't
saying-
prove it any more than we can prove your argument. Can't
wait.
prove either.
That's what I'm saying. All I'm
yeah,
saying
but
is
this
it's
comes
possible.
to reasonable assumptions here. 'Cause
So it's not that unreasonable to say that
it
somebody
is,
could write.
it is quite unreasonable. Because then
people
all-
write their stories all the time.
Then we could just give all of our history away. Because if
you could.
it's just as
you
easy
could,
as that,
and people do.
then get rid of history class
Hey,
because we
I'm
don't
just
know
saying,
anything then.
You could. I'm not saying it's the best way to live your
not
life.
I know.
It's much
but-
better
but
to
the
believe
problem
it,
is
but-
that goes outside of any sort of logic that we have.
Well,
That-
history
that's the
belongs to
issue.
the victor, and histories are written by the victorious side,
Okay, yeah.
not by the losers.
Yeah,
And so,
You're constantly discovering new
Sure.
things that completely change what they thought about history at
Sure.
at different times.
Okay, so let's just use the Bible.
By the way,
for
I
example.
I am terrible with examples, so
You're
I can only go so far on this.
I
This
know.
is mainly for examples.
I know. And Sean's got me in my
Yeah.
debate mode, so I'm hopping on everything
That's okay.
now.
That's all right.
But
So if I say something stupid,
so
Sorry.
I mean, just
trying
look at the writers. You can pick Josephus, or let's just stick to the Bible. You can pick what was the pool that Jesus healed the blind man in? The pool.
Siloam,
Yeah,
or-
we have that pool discovered. That is an actual pool that they discovered a couple years ago.
so there's archaeological evidence.
Yes.
But does it mean that there was a man who was
Hold up.
healed there?
Hold up.
there's also a real
So
Israel that we know
then
about, but we
can go to the writings of Josephus. Okay, Jesus existed in Josephus. He existed in Tacitus. On and on and on. And you find all these clues.
No doubt.
And eventually, you look at all of this, and would it be more reasonable to say, Jesus probably existed, or Jesus was probably the Messiah?
reasonable is not reasonable is a terrible.
Really?
Yes, because you can make reasonable arguments for a lot of different things.
Okay.
So it's a pretty subjective
You're right.
Yeah.
But
way to determine
I'm not
truth.
saying those things aren't valid. I'm not saying that they are. I think they're very important.
I know.
But-
You wouldn't be a Christian
but-
if you.
But
if they
I
weren't
would
valid.
reject the idea that you can say it's true because of those things.
I never said that, but
By the way,
said.
I believe in history. I believe the Earth is round.
Yeah, we have to make clarifications.
I believe there's
'cause people
objective
take that out
truth.
of context.
I'm a little gray on the multiverse thing.
I don't believe in the
And
multiverse.
So
Are you going to lose sponsorship or something?
I don't know.
With all this CYA stuff?
No, I want to.
You got to be like me talking to my future employer on the show.
No, this is for understanding of the audience,
Yeah.
so they can understand that I'm just arguing the points.
Got
but
it.
I really believe in the.
So let's go back to capital T truths. How do we know when we're on the truth? We go to the Mormons. They say, I've looked at all the evidence. I see the evidence. I believe the evidence is true that Joseph Smith was a prophet of God. We have people who look at the evidence for Muhammad, who went in the cave, and Gabriel the angel gave him the revelation, the most correct book on the face of the earth, called the Quran. How do you sift through these things and say, as 2-3 people, this is the truth? How?
So I'm going to give you guys just a quick story. Not even a really story. So a couple weeks ago, I was sitting there in this youth group that I attend every Wednesday. It's one of 3 churches I go to, including this one. And he was talking about eschatology. And I said, I texted our group chat. I said, John, Steve, the pastor's trying to convince me that Christ is still coming back. And Sean always texts back something very short. He says, test all things. if you want to find and get as close to truth as possible, you have to question everything.
Okay, I'm with you on that. So there's one way. Steve, you gave us some others. Test all things as one.
What do you test them by, though?
Test them by the Spirit, whether the response to that thing you're testing produces love or not, and whether it's in Scripture.
Okay.
Okay, so we can test all things by those three things. And if the Spirit is leading you to do something that's not loving and that's not in the Scripture, you would say that's a wrong spirit.
Okay, but that's Christian truth, though.
Right, and that's what we're talking about, because we believe that Christian truth is capital T truth.
Yeah.
So how do we suggest...
See, I look at it totally differently. I look at it, we need to step all aside and assume it's all untrue, and then find which one is
And
most
I don't
likely to be true.
have a problem with that,
Yeah.
because we are to test all things.
I just want to make that clarification.
You're a Descartes. You're like Descartes. You deny everything and then build back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the brain in the vat theory? That you're just a brain in the vat.
gosh.
How do you know anything?
I mean...
Because you only have your experiences, right?
That is true, Steve, but...
Does the Scripture ever say...
How do you build on from that? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
we get so focused. We might need to do a part 2 to this thing.
We've gone a long time.
I'm literally just getting little thoughts that I have to shout out. So
I'll have you on my podcast.
Does the
and welcome you.
Scripture ever say we can know something?
Does it say we can know?
Because if we know it, it's true. Yeah, it's not an opinion. Where does the Scripture talk about knowing?
God.
Okay, it says to know God is life eternal. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Yep.
No man comes to the Father but by me. If you know, you shall know me. If you know the truth will set you free. So he tells us that the truth is knowable. And then in 1 John, it talks about how we can know internally by the Spirit that something's true. But now we go into that sticky wicket about what about everybody else who knows internally something's true? How do you differ between that experience you've had and the experience they have? Contradictory views.
The love it produces.
The love it produces. Yeah. Right. So Joseph Smith says, listen, I had a revelation. Men should take on extra wives. Is it in the Bible? It is. Can you test it? You can. It was there and it was done by all these different people. Does it produce the fruit of love?
No.
It does not. So it should be rejected because it doesn't bear that fruit. So I would suggest that we covered a lot of good stuff, that you want the facts, you want to test all things, you want certainly to have the Spirit, you want to have the Word, and you want to have whether it produces love. If it fails in any of those four things, question it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
We did it. We've came to
Is
the
that our
easy, simple
longest
answer.
episode?
It was our longest episode.
Wait, we're giving the audience what they want. They asked for longer episodes.
They
This
did,
is
so
one
they
of
got
them.
it. And for next week,
Whew.
Man,
Man, I'm going to watch that back and say, what am I
know.
talking about there?
same here.
Goodness gracious.
Oh. I will.
did you do two?
By
I
accident.
have to sterilize the entire thing.
Homosexuality.
Oh.
But we sort of already covered this.
I think we need to talk about it more.
Oh well. Next week here on
Homo.
CAT.
Oh, we're
Sexuality.
independently out.
Cat.
Homosexuality
Out.
on CAT.
Okay.
Good one.
There you go.
Good one. What time are we at?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we better wrap it up. Homosexuality will take too long.